Hi, welcome to Hope in the Light of Suicide. I'm Tammy. I'm your host and the founder and CEO of the Bobby White Foundation. Welcome. So, as I always like to do, because it's very, very important, because otherwise we wouldn't be here, I want to thank John Gaston and Area 52 Media Group. And of course, my tech guy in the background, Joseph, who is plugging along really hard because he's not feeling very good today. So, give him a big round because I know how hard it is when you got to work and you don't really feel good. Because usually, if I don't feel good and it's time for me to tape, I don't even do it. But I really appreciate him plugging along. So, um, like I said last week, we're still having our support groups all through the summer. So, and oh, that's right. See, even though he's sick, he's on his toes. Um, our other sponsor for the show, Delynn Gaston with the mortgage firm, uh, Everything Mortgages. This whole time right now, everything is really kind of crazy. So you really need someone that knows what they're doing and that can help you out. Even if you think you may not be qualified or you're not, she can help you get through the steps to get qualified. Or if you are, I mean, just she's a wealth of knowledge. And I hear about this stuff all the time because I have my nephew and his wife are real estate agents. Actually, they were just here and just the things that I hear, it's just craziness. I don't know how they can do it. So you really need somebody that knows what they're doing to stay on top of things for you, because it's going to be your biggest purchase of your whole entire life. So you really want that help. So okay, go back to summertime. We are still having our support groups. So our next groups in July will be July 9th, the second Wednesday in Spring Hill for the Spring Hill group at the NAMI Hernando office. We want to thank them for they donate their space for us every month, and they've been really super supportive. And then the West Pasco Newport Richey group is the third Thursday, and that's July 17th, and that's at the Oasis Coffee Spot. We meet in their little bookstore off to the side. It's nice and quiet and private, and we want to thank them. Excuse me, because they do the same thing. They donate their space for us, and it's really, really helpful. They're very supportive also. So we're really super happy about that. So the other night we had our probably most official meeting for Art for Hope that's coming up in September. So we had our volunteer meeting, and we met out at the venue, the Hilton Garden Inn. That's where we've had it for, this will be the 8th year. And they're super, super great. So we're starting to, get things rolling and nailed down for that. We've been doing it, this is going to be our 8th year. So really kind of everything runs fairly smoothly, but everything like comes together right at the very end. But we have a lot of new things that's happening, that's going to be incorporated. A lot of different types of art. And it falls on 9/11. So we're hoping to get our keynote speakers to be that are first responders, or possibly someone that was in New York around that time. I have some connections that I need to reach out to in the next week or two, and see if we can start nailing that down. I have even somebody in mind here, super locally, but we've got a lot of connections. So it's going to be a great evening, uplifting. We do a little bit of education. We have people talk about their experience and things that are coming up, because really, and I have to wait to the end of the show to tell you, because I have something really super special, hopefully. But it all ties together, so it's really super cool. So we've already started getting sponsors for Art for Hope, And like I said last week, the sooner you sponsor, then the longer period of time that you get to be mentioned on our show and on all of our social media. So, of course, we have Area 52 Media Group. John has, him and Lynn have backed me since in the very beginning. They've just been wonderful. And actually, John's the one who talked me into doing this show when COVID hit, because we couldn't go out and talk to groups. We had just started doing that at the first of that year in 2020, when COVID hit and we couldn't do it. And I've mentioned before, it took him like 10 months to talk me into doing it. Well, maybe not quite that long, 8 months. But still, it was a long time because COVID hit, March? We started doing the show in December of 2020, I believe. It had been 21, but I think it was 2020. 3 years, 5 years? No, maybe 21. I don't know. I get it all mixed up. But anyways, so it's great from the very beginning. And of course, Tammy White Galleries, that's where most of the art comes from. That's my business. So, we've backed this and fund the foundation and do a lot of stuff. So, I'm lucky, very fortunate to be self-employed and have, my own business. And Tammy White Galleries has been in West Pasco for 31 years. And now we're the only independent custom frame shop in West Pasco County. So I'm really pretty proud of that. And we also have the Rotary Club of the Nature Coast. They were one of our first sponsors also. It's nice to have our Rotary backing us. Hopefully, when this other stuff starts happening, that we'll talk about again here shortly, that we can get more clubs involved. So we also have a new sponsor, new sponsor, which I don't have the logo for yet. And they've been a sponsor in the past also, and that's JR World Travels. So we'll get their logo and get that up on everything. So remember too, and I didn't get this stuff to Joseph, I totally forgot until just prior to the show, is you can go to Art for Hope Facebook page, and like some of the art that I'm going to be featuring on the show I'll be putting that on the Art for Hope Facebook page. So some of the picked out a couple other pieces to show you this week that again will be available prior to the event. So, and especially if you're not local, or even if you are, but you can just contact the foundation, and we can ship these out for you. We actually shipped out a piece I don't know, a few weeks ago. I think I went to Ohio or someplace. So we can do that. So any of these pieces that we show, that either on the show and on the Art for Hope Facebook page, are available, prior to the event. And if we don't sell them prior to, they'll be available at the event. So one of the pieces is a piece that is called Addicted to Love, and it's a serigraph. And this piece is also, it's conservation framed, and the rose there in the lower left-hand corner, that is hand carved by me. I love doing little fancy stuff like that. So this is a really great piece. It's a limited edition serigraph. The artist is Dennis Mukai. It's probably one of my favorite pieces from his series. He was very prolific artist in the 90s, 80s, 90s. So it's a really good piece, great condition, and conservation glass, everything is, of course, that's the only way I do stuff. So, and this other second piece that I'm going to show you, we've shown it before, and we just haven't sold it yet. And I don't know, maybe that's kind of me. This is actually a piece of art that is printed on metal, and this is a huge trend these days. Is using different substrates for artists' work. And this artist who painted this original piece, actually, I went to high school with. His name is Stuart Duvall. He's has been an art instructor at Kaiser University over on the other coast. I can't remember the name where it's at, but it's on the east coast of Florida. And this is a piece that we purchased from him to raise money for the foundation. And we believe, and I've asked him, and I don't know that we've actually tested it. This piece, I think it would be good if you wanted to hang this outside, like if you have a pool, caged in area. Well, not necessarily caged in, but if you have a patio that has, a nice roof over it, that you could hang this outside. It's a really neat piece. The colors on it are really vibrant. The size of it is, I believe, 16 by 20, so it's not a huge piece, but it's really neat. And I like his work. Plus, we went to school together. So, anyways, so those are two of the pieces that are available now for Art for Hope. Either now, pre-Art for Hope, or at Art for Hope. So that'll all be really super good. And we're going to have different kinds of art, fiber art, glass art, ceramics. Hopefully there's an artist here locally that I want to get in touch with, and he does some wood bowl carvings and wooden resin bowls. His work is beautiful. Keep your fingers crossed. So just a bunch of different things that we're going to add instead of just typical wall art. But of course, we'll also have our gift baskets and a lottery board. Our gift baskets are always awesome. We end up as we start collecting them in the beginning, it's like, oh no, we're not going to have enough gift baskets. And then as we're setting up that night, it's like, oh no, we need more tables for the gift baskets. And because oftentimes people will bring them in like right at the beginning of the event. So it always works out like way super cool, better than what we even think. So it's pretty nice. So today I wanted to also finish up on what we were speaking about last week, which is this article that I got from one of the partners here in Tampa Bay, that one of the organizations, I don't know, that we are a partner with, the Zero Suicide Partners of Pinellas County. And the article that we referenced that was sent to me was men's mental health and suicide, understanding the stigma with assessing support. So we went through, I'm just going to highlight what we went through a little bit last week, was why are men struggling so much? Why don't men talk about it? How do most men die by suicide? And we were left with, what can we do to help? So sometimes I don't really have an issue with it, but there's some organizations or people say that suicide is preventable. In some cases, yes, it is. And I do believe that part of it, but I don't really believe in the blanket statement that suicide is preventable. But there are things, there still are things, depending on the situation, that we can do, to make a difference. And we talk about this all the time. We had the the other program that we've gone through, I don't know, a couple times on here, different things that you can do to help people out. And that's kind of at the end of this is what we're going to talk about a little bit. And that's why we give out the numbers at the end of the show, because you just never know. If you just you don't know what you don't know, and if you just know just something a little bit, it just can be maybe just one little thing that could help a person in crisis. And sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot, but again, it's not always the case. But so in finishing up this article, and then I want to go in to one of the to the resources, but we'll finish up this article. One big step in reducing access to things that can make a crisis fatal are guns. So we've spoke about that, and we're part of the Safer Gun Advocacy for our SAFE program here in Pasco County, which is Pasco County Zero Suicide Coalition group, and working on safe storage, getting more safe storage, how that's going to work. One of the biggest things, like I've mentioned before, I guess it would be kind of like one of the biggest roadblocks would be liability. And but there are a couple of places here locally, not locally here in Pasco County, I haven't found any, but there is a place in Pinellas County, and I'll get that name too for next week, because we didn't have our meeting this week because I think it's getting too close to holidays, and sometimes that's what happens for summer break because a lot of people go away. So that's one of the big things. So gun safety. We do have here at the office of the Bobby White Foundation, we do have gun locks. They're very simple gun locks. I mean, maybe if it would be just enough to be enough time to be a deterrent for someone. I was talking with my producer John several months ago, and I was also, there was something that I saw. I can't remember what it was, but some guy was saying, "Oh, it was a guy that I know down in Tampa. How he has a gun safe for his gun. Actually, both him and his wife have theirs. But he said, and it kind of, I don't know, it kind of made me sad, because it's like, okay, we're trying to do this to make it as a deterrent, but then again, if it's not, for what we're talking about, and it's for, home safety, he can get into his gun safe, he said, in less than 30 seconds. So really, for the purposes that we talk about, the gun safety would be so much better if the guns were off premises until the crisis is over. So, and they can get help. And then, when the crisis is over and they deem it that they're safe, then there's no issue. There's no law enforcement that's going to come and get you and take your guns away or anything. You get your guns back. But we're really going to be working hard on getting some legislation done here in Florida, because, like I said, that's the liability is one of the major things. But we do have are getting some help and more information from somebody in, I think it's Louisiana, I said, where they just, as of June 1st, passed that type of legislation. And I talked about it a couple of weeks on the show. So we also need to change the way we talk about mental health. And, everybody says that. But it's true, but it is so hard. I mean, we still see and feel the stigma when you talk about it, and especially when it comes to guys. because, people, guys in particular, think that asking for help makes them look weak, but it doesn't. Really, it's like really quite the opposite. And I think, the more we talk about it and the more we open up about it, it's making it a little bit easier for the guys. But there's so many other ways. I mean, and again, it's not, you're not weak. It makes you feel, really, you're stronger if you can do this. Reach out, therapists. You may find one and it doesn't work. Maybe that just wasn't the one for you. Keep going until you find one that works for you, because not everybody's going to click with one. I had to go to a sociologist when my first husband was killed. Was not a good fit. And I never went back. And that really, back then, I was really young, that really tainted my view of therapists. And that's one of the reasons it took me so long after Bobby died to find a therapist. And fortunately, because of doing what I've already started to do, I was able to connect with one that was suicide specific, and our back and forth, it worked. Unfortunately, she moved, but it did. So, other ways are support groups. There's apps. You got, your friends, people that you trust. Now, that's one thing. You have to make sure that it's somebody that you trust. It's the same thing with us going through our grief. There's going to be people that you can talk to that you can trust, and then there's people that you don't even want. You just don't want. But so one of the resources, and I'm going to pull this up so that I can, let's see, we'll get this going that way, is there's this website, and we referenced it last week as one of the resources. It is one of the resources for this article, and it is a website called Heads Up Guys. And it is a great website for guys or friends or spouses or partners or whatever to go to. They've got all this information, and they've kind of seem to kind of feature the areas such as America, the UK, and Canada. And so they've got like this one, signs a man is depressed, and challenges to recognize depression in men, because some men, most men probably, they hide or mask their mental health difficulties, again, to avoid looking weak. And these are things that we've talked about before. But when you can go to a site like this, and you can see, again, the same thing that we have discussed before, it helps a little bit more, because you learn a little bit more, you take in a little bit more, at different times, and it makes it easier until at some point it's just going to be natural. Often men turn to self-destruction, drugs, alcohol, dangerous activities. And they have on here typical signs to look for: sadness, hopelessness. They may say, they're feeling down or lonely. One thing, and I didn't find this out until after Bobby died, it was a couple weeks prior to, we were at my sister-in-law's house for Easter, and he made the comment to his two sisters that he was really tired and he didn't feel well, and he thought that, maybe we'd all be better off without him. I found this out from my brother-in-law the evening of my husband's death. We were sitting on the back porch after everybody had left except for family, and my brother-in-law told me that this was said. and I didn't know. Lack of energy. They start sleeping, too much. They find simple tasks hard. That morning, I couldn't get him to go get the truck fixed. There's just so much on here. There's how to start a conversation, provide support. Let's see what they have here. Tips for providing support. Let the person know you're available. Active listening. Just listen to the person. Be receptive to their supports for their requests for support. Ask how you can help. Help with manageable support strategies. There's just so much on here. What to do in a crisis. Manage suicide risk. Self-care. See what we got here. Tips for supporters. Okay. This would be great if you have a man in your life, a friend, a loved one. Go to this site, Heads Up Guys, and look under self-care. I mean, it's information that's there. This is especially geared towards guys that I think is really great. So this went way too fast. So we're going to do the quote for this week is, individually, we are one drop. Together, we are an ocean. And this can attest to so many things. Everything that we're doing, we want to collaborate. We want to help. We want to work with others. So be sure you put the call 988 in your phone. And I'm going to leave a little bit different today and I didn't get to our surprise, so I'll have more information on it next week. So the last is, believe there is good in the world, be the good.